The United States lacks the ability to absorb large numbers of migrants, and in particular refugees, into its communities in a manner that does not compromise the availability of resources for Americans, that protects their safety and security, and that ensures the appropriate assimilation of refugees. So what's the difference between the refugees that they're talking about here and those refugees?
I could guess. I mean, I think everyone...
They're white.
They're white. Thank you. They are white. And I think, look, if that is how you feel, fine, then hold the line. But there are people all over the world, even people in this country right now, who are seeking, who have sought asylum, who are going through the process of asylum seeking, and have been detained by ICE and are being deported. There's also a genocide happening in the Congo right now that I don't see any Congolese being getting relief to come to this country. So there are Afghanis that helped us in Afghanistan that we have left behind. Even the last administration didn't do right by them. This administration can do right by them, but they are not, because it doesn't fit the narrative of the type of immigrants that we want in our country.
And even saying, you know, there is also a genocide happening in Congo. We got to be careful about acknowledging that
there's
not a genocide in South Africa.
That's right.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we've not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies. Cry babies.
I'm not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for...
Can you imagine somebody saying that about any minority that the left is trying to help right now?
That is blasphemous.
There is no genocide.
No, of course, we're agreeing there. I mean, certainly there are white people in South Africa who have been victims of crimes. That happens all over the world. That certainly does not entitle someone to the level of persecution to be entitled to asylum in the United States. When we, as a nation, are turning away people, forget the woke stuff. I mean, literally people who assisted the United States military in Afghanistan are not being admitted to this country now in favor of white South Africans under some genocide narrative that is just nonsense.
Just good old-fashioned apartheid millionaires who ran out of the country because they cannot oppress Africans anymore. Or they don't want to get deleted.
Shoot to kill, Yamasa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, pa.
Nobody hates refugees. The MAGA gaslighting train has already begun on this topic. Well, you will see later in this video.
Let us investigate.
And we are excited to welcome you here to our country, where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will bloom and we will benefit alongside you. So thank you very much for coming here.
I would like to add, again, on behalf of President Trump, Secretary Noem, we're just so grateful that you guys are here.
What happened to closed border? Well, they are asylum seekers and they don't fall in the same category as illegal people. They're mostly from Holland. Why don't they just return there? I don't know. I always thought asylum seeker goes to the nearest country.
And part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land just like we do. And that is for them to, so if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No.
These refugees are coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Are you against them coming here?
Holland, probably. Holland.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out!
I find it very weird that she can say, you belong in your country. Go back. They can actually say that about you.
Trump administration, they're saying that essentially these white South Africans assimilate better and they're also not as much of a security risk. That's really causing a lot of people to be appalled, frankly. And I also should tell people that this violence that they're talking about that are dealing with these Afrikaners, I've been hearing from people that say there is violence in South Africa, but it's affecting everybody of every single race, Katie.
Bengadilo, remember to subscribe. I don't understand how somebody can say it is affecting everybody, but somebody is singing.
Shoot to kill, Yamasa. The the farmer.
The elite, the boer, which is the farmer.
White South Africans assimilate better, and they're also not as much of a security risk.
I can't give you a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now.
We are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. That means at some future date, we may call for the slaughter of white people. Is that correct?
Let's deal with that at that future date. I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're saying you are not ruling out that in the future you may very well call for the slaughter of white people?
It may not be me.
Could it be you?
It could be me, yes, but it may not be me.
Yes, so it could be you. You could, at some future date, call for the slaughter of white people.
Look, I'm just applying the strategy of the party on the other side, which usually say if you're the minority, you're the protective class. But suddenly, you're not the protective class if you're successful and supposedly you were in power back in the day because you had money.
A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
Who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, you know, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something. But we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is...
The fact that it's the only thing that attracts your attention, the only reason we're talking about this, I find it suspicious.
There's not a genocide in South
That's
Africa.
right.
And we have a refugee program.
I am sure there's been violence against one side or the other.
There has been violence, but hold on a second, hold on a second, I want to make a point. Violence does not equal genocide.
That's
so
right.
we need to be really, really clear about that, because if you look
at
the violence...
dead guy, you may not say that.
No, I would say that, actually. Because if you look at what genocide is, it is very specific that you're trying to get rid of a people, a whole group of people. There is violence in South Africa. They've had a very big uptick in violence. But black people have seen the brunt of that violence.
Okay.
Not just...
For each one person that is being killed by the taxi industry, will give 5 white people. For every 1 black person, will give 5 white people. Will give their children, will give their women, will give anything that we find on our way.
So there you go. That's political party leaders literally calling for the genocide of white people to happen there.
Violence does not equal genocide.
There comes a point I look at you differently. And that's not because I have one working eye. They don't bat an eye for 50 million illegals crossing the border, but throw a meltdown over 50 immigrants from South Africa.
Don't get me wrong, mako sa kita bong. Butta fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam jam, durloketa, berdetta, welcome.